That's what they do now. They bring a judge in and jurisdiction's call. That's what I heard down on Coleman and Hope.
I'm not sure what the learning curve is. Well, just see it, Rachel. Not yet. I'll wait just a few minutes. Just back over here.
It's nice having your people on the web. I see that though. That's nice.
It is. It's very nice.
That's very So, are you the
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Holzman.
Commissioner Coleman is here.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Yeah, you can come sit up here. That's fine.
What's our address? 720.
Okay, let's go on the record.
Commissioner Coleman here.
Thank you, Commissioner Kolkmeyer. We're on the record. Good evening. It is January 19th, 2023, and the current time is right around 6:30 p.m. And we are just outside of Joplin, Missouri. Oh, we're in Joplin. Okay, in Joplin, Missouri. Sorry about that. Thank you. We just finished the question and answer portion. Hopefully, you were able, if you had questions, to get those questions answered. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set aside this time for a local hearing in file number WR 2022-0303, which is a general rate case captioned as in the matter of Missouri American Water Company's request for authority to implement a general rate increase for water and sewer service provided in its Missouri service areas. My name is John Clark, and I'm the regulatory law judge overseeing tonight's local public hearing. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by investor-owned utility companies in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The commission also regulates the quality of service and the safety of operations for investor-owned utilities. The commission is made up of 5 commissioners, Chairman Scott Roop and Commissioners Maida Coleman, Jason Holzman, and Glenn Kochmeyer. Now, if you'll notice, I just said 4 commissioners, and that's because 1 commission seat is currently vacant. Now, the commissioners are appointed by the governor to a fixed terms and confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. With me today via WebEx are Commissioners Maida Coleman, Jason Holzman, and Glenn Kochmeyer. Would any of the commissioners like to make an opening statement? The court reporter is also present via WebEx and will be transcribing this hearing so that the commissioners have an opportunity to review this later and read any of the comments that are made. I'm going to begin by asking counsel to enter their appearance for the record, starting with Missouri American Water Company.
Good evening. Rachel Niemeyer and Tim Left on behalf of Missouri American Water Company this evening.
Ms.
Thank you.
Niemeyer, Ms. Left, Mr. Left, thank you. On behalf of the staff of the commission.
Good evening. I'm Don Cosper on behalf of staff.
Thank you, Mr. Cosper. On behalf of the Office of Public Counsel.
Lindsay Van Gerpen on behalf of the Office of Public Counsel.
Thank you, Ms. Van Gerpen. Are there any interveners who are present or any attorneys I haven't called? Okay, I see none. Now, for those who would like to provide comments to the commission today, I'm going to call the names listed on the sign-up sheet in the order they appear. When I call your name, please come to one of the microphones that are up here. And at that time, I'll place you under oath, and I will ask you to state and spell your name for the record. And then you'll have an opportunity to offer your comments to the commission. There aren't a lot of comments, so I'm not going to set any time limitation on comments. But if comments start to get repetitive or go off track from the case we're talking about, then I may start to wind it up and cut you short. After you've finished offering your remarks, please stay at the microphone until you've been excused. Myself or the commissioners may have questions for you. If the attorneys have questions, please just get my attention. I can't really see you out of my peripheral vision, so you may have to say something. Now, the commission will not be able to answer your questions today, and that's because they have to remain impartial until after evidence is presented at the evidentiary hearing. If you have questions, please speak to representative of the company, the commission staff, or the Office of the Public Counsel. I know I'm turning my head away from the mic. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Also, I would ask that everybody be polite and treat the people at the microphone as you would like to be treated. With that in mind, I will call the first name, and correct me if I butcher your name. Thomas Alley.
I pronounce it Ailey.
Mr. Alley, I got it wrong on the first try. Thank you.
That's all right, most do.
Would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Thomas Ailey, A-L-E-Y.
And Mr. Alley, what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
I have a written statement, 1 page long, that I would like to leave with you after I present it orally.
Would you like it admitted as an exhibit for the purposes of this hearing?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Alley.
I'm Thomas Ailey, and I'm president of the Ozark Underground Laboratory, 1572 Ailey Lane, Pro Tem, Missouri. I specialize in groundwater tracing with tracer dyes and have conducted major studies at Joplin, at George Washington Carver National Monument, and in Neosho. I am a licensed Missouri registered geologist and have conducted groundwater investigations at Missouri American Water Company's planned water supply reservoir 15 miles south of Joplin. These studies were funded by property owners who who will be affected by this ill-planned reservoir. This hearing is on Missouri American's plan to raise water rates by over 25%. My testimony is relevant to this hearing because the planned reservoir will result in major costs to water users in the Joplin area, in addition to the over 25% increase already proposed. Missouri American has already applied for a federal permit to build the reservoir, and their project is well advanced. With the pending reservoir, the 25% plus rate increase is only the tip of the rate increase iceberg for local water users. Missouri American wants a lake on Bainham Branch that would cover 1,200 acres, be 100 feet deep at the dam, and 80 feet deep over Lime Kiln Road, and supply 30 million gallons of water per day during periods when the flow of Shoal Creek is low. Shoal Creek is the main water supply for Joplin. Much of the stream flow in the Bainham Branch Valley sinks into the cavernous limestone bedrocks at multiple points in the planned lake bed. The sinking water bypasses the dam and discharges from springs where it cannot be captured by the dam. The rapid groundwater flow through multiple natural conduits dissolved in the limestone has been proven by our 3 groundwater traces. Leakage rates in Bainham Branch are so great that the stream channel at the planned dam site is routinely dry in the summer, even though the surface watershed is 15.7 square miles. A dry channel is clearly not a good site for a dam to store water for dry periods. The springs fed by the leakage points in the planned lake bed are at the base of a limestone bluff along Shoal Creek. We installed continuous water flow monitoring equipment at the largest of the springs and recorded flow rates for 15 months. The highest measured flow rate at this spring was 45.4 million gallons per day. This occurred during a storm flow period on Bainham Branch when the depth of water in the channel between Lime Kiln Pike and the planned dam averaged about 8 feet. If the lake were at the level that Missouri American plans, water over the stream channel would be 80 to 100 feet deep. The deeper the water, the greater the leakage rates. Leakage would be many times the 45 million gallons per day we measured if the reservoir were ever to fill, but it leaks too fast to ever fill. The leakage points are in the basin, not under the dam. As a result, foundation treatments at the dam will not solve the basin leakage. Missouri American's planned reservoir on Bainham Branch is a mirage based on wishful corporate thinking. Given the massive leakage rates, the lake will never fill, and water users will not get the water they need. If constructed, Missouri American will seek another big rate increase for the cost of a failed project plus a profit margin. There clearly is not much incentive in the public utility business for making good water management decisions. Copies of our report on Bainham Branch are available at www.proposedjoplinreservoir.com. Thank you.
Hold on just a second, Mr. Allen. Is that proposedjoplinreservoir.com?
Correct.
Now, when you say you did a continuous trace, would you just, for my education, tell me what that is?
There are 2 things there. We had continuous flow rate monitoring of the water coming out of the spring to know what its flow rate was. That's where we found during that 15-month period that the highest instantaneous flow rate was the 45.4 million gallons per day. The dye tracing was separate from that. The dye tracing, we would put the tracer dyes in losing stream segments of Bain and Branch, where the flow would go into the ground to see where that water went. It does not have to stay in the basin, especially in karst areas like this. We put the dye in and sample for it at a number of sampling points in the area. I think we had something like 20 or 25 sampling points. The results of that tracing were the dye comes out of the springs that are adjacent to Shoal Creek. They are not within the basin where the dam would be built.
Okay, thank you. You indicated that 45.4 million was the maximum flow rate. Do you know, perchance, what the average flow rate?
In the 15 months of record we have, it is in one of the 3 reports we have. I don't have those reports with me now. The important thing, I think, is much of that monitoring, well, it went through a complete year. Sometimes the flows were routinely 10 or 15 million gallons per day. Other times at this particular sampling point, the flow was 0 because there was a lot of leakage out of the lake into which this dam, this spring discharged. The spring is covered up by a 3-acre lake. In order to measure the flow of the spring, we had to gauge the flow coming out of the pipe that drained the lake. That flow would sometimes go to 0, indicating that we were not getting all of the flow of the spring.
Okay, that makes sense to me. You had indicated you wanted to submit your statement as an
Yes.
exhibit, if I may.
May I come forward?
Please. I will take that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ailey. If you'll stand back to the microphone for just a second, I'll see if there are any more questions. Are there any more questions for Mr. Ailey? Go ahead, Mr. Love.
Mr. Ailey, were you present in the question and answer session when representatives of Missouri American said the reservoir is not part of this rate case?
Yeah, I heard that,
Thank you.
and I recognize that.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Ailey? Okay. Mr. Ailey, I'm going to take your statement as a statement of Thomas Ailey at the Missouri Public Service Commission hearing, Joplin, Missouri, January 19th, 2023. And that will be marked as Commission Local Public Exhibit, Local Public Hearing Exhibit 1, and that will be admitted onto the record of this local public hearing. Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Ailey.
Thank you.
Sir Ralph Tyler?
I'll decline for now.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
I'll decline for now.
Okay, if you want to make a statement at the end, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Tammy Walker? Ms. Walker, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
Would you state and spell your name for the record?
Tammy Walker, Tammywalker.
And Ms. Walker, what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
I have a prepared statement. My name is Tammy Walker, and I'm the Director of Community Development at Economic Security Corporation. We are a nonprofit community action agency serving Jasper, Barton, Newton, and McDonald counties. Our agency has a cornucopia of programs that help low-income families and individuals. Our agency receives a number of grants that help low-income families and individuals with utilities. Excuse me. The The largest utility program we receive is LIHEAP. That's Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. With these funds, we operate the Energy Assistance Program and Energy Crisis Intervention Program. Last year, our agency served 5,328 households in the Energy Assistance Program.
I'm sorry, can you say that number again, please?
5,328.
Thank you.
The average household size was 2.23, and 92% of those households we served were elderly and/or disabled. Also, 92% of those assisted households had incomes under 75% of the poverty guideline. To give you an example of how much money this is, for a one-person household, this is less than $849 per month. We also receive winter and summer funds in our Energy Crisis Intervention Program. And last year, we served 2,897 households with assistance. I know these two programs do not help with water bills, but it is a good representation of our customer base that we serve. Last year, our agency rolled out a new federally funded program to help with water bills. We received LIWAP funds, Low Income Household Water Assistance Program. This program is designed to assist low-income individuals and families with their water and wastewater bills. A qualifying customer can receive assistance with their water and/or wastewater bill only one time during the year. The maximum amount of assistance a household could receive is up to $750. Our agency has assisted 865 households since the program started. 56% of those customers are Missouri American Water customers who received assistance that totals $76,546.24. Here are a few examples of some of our utility customers. I've changed their names. David is a 71 disabled veteran with a household income of $1,236 a month. Mary and Bill are both in their 60s. They're both disabled. They both receive SSI. Their two grandchildren live with them. Their household income is $1,682 a month. Kathy is a 37-year-old single mom with 5 kids who range from 2 years old to 16 years old. Her household income is $1,265 per month in child support. The cost of basic needs is a huge challenge for our customers who struggle each month to make their ends meet. Any rate increase for the economically disadvantaged and our most vulnerable populations, which are our elderly and disabled households, is too much.
Thank you. Did you want to have your statement admitted onto the record, or are you happy just reading it into the record?
I'm happy just reading it.
Any questions for Ms. Walker? I have no questions. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thanks.
Mike Hunley? Mr. Hunley, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mike Hunley, Hunley.
And Mr. Hunley, what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
I know that I heard the same thing that the attorney said about the pre-hearing and the question and answer, and that the Joplin Reservoir is not part of this rate case. However, I wanted to add that Mr. Ailey, we own the property that where the spring is, the large spring just downstream of the lake, where Ozark Underground did much of the testing for the reservoir. The point I wanted to make this evening is that Missouri American has done no testing on our property whatsoever. No dye tracing, no testing at all. So how they can determine that it's a viable reservoir when our property is where all the water's going is a mystery to me. I also don't know what contingency plan Missouri American has when this reservoir fails.
Did you have an opportunity to ask them about that during the question and answer?
I did not ask him.
Are there any questions for Mr. Hunley? I have no questions. Thank you very much for your comment. Marcia Miller? Yes, it would be easier for me to hear you. They may bring the mic down to you if that would be easier.
I just, well, what do I need to do? Marcia
raise your-
Miller, Marcia S. Miller.
That is true, you did write the S. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Ms. Miller. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes, I
And
do.
would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Okay, it's Marcia, M-A-R-S-H-A, middle initial S, and the last name is Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
And what comments do you have for the commission?
And I do not mean this disrespectful, but I do have a comment about rate cases in general. It seems to me that, or it kind of looks like, maybe you all get together, all of you here in this room in your suits, and you decide what you're going to do regardless of what the information indicates. And like I said, I don't know anything about, the big process, but it just seems that somebody wants a rate increase, the Public Service Commission listens to all of this, and then there generally is a rate increase. Oftentimes not as much as the company may want, but it just seems like there's a lot of backroom stuff going on. And again, I don't mean that to, sound like I know what you're doing, because I don't.
Well, I certainly am happy to hear from you. I certainly want to hear your comments because it's important for us to know how this process appears. And as I indicated earlier, the commission can't answer questions because we have to remain impartial, but I can assure you that that's not the case.
Right, yes. One other thing I might mention, just as a suggestion, I think it would really be helpful if more information is available through the press, through the local newspapers or whatever, about rate cases, and a little bit more detail as to what is available, what is taken into account, so everybody feels a little more comfortable. Now, maybe I'm the only one that is kind of like, what the heck's going on here?
What kind of information do you think would be helpful for the public to know?
Well, I think just a little bit more detailed information about what goes into deciding, yes, there will be an increase, no, there won't be, we won't be approving that, we'll be approving part of it, why are we not approving all of it? Just things like that, just to kind of have more information available.
Okay, most of those things would not be available until after the commission's made its decision.
Right,
But
and I
that
realize that.
decision is generally in a published order, which the public certainly has a right to read. But you had indicated, you were saying that would be more helpful if that were supplied better to media outlets or if it were covered better by media.
I think it would be helpful, but then again, maybe a lot of people wouldn't, read it anyway, I don't know, but I think it's always helpful to have something to hold in your hand and read,
Okay.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. I will certainly look into this. And I don't have any questions for Marcia S. Miller. Does anybody else? And I'm sorry, I think I'm going to butcher this last name. I apologize. John F. Okest? I'm sorry?
The blame can lay on me for penmanship, but it's Ockert.
Ockert.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ockert.
And that's JOHNOCKERT. Got a little flamboyant with that T. Makes it look like an S. Apologize.
That's perfectly fine. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn, Mr. Ockert?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes, sir.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
First and foremost, I would like to say that I appreciate your time and this forum so that we can acquire more information and provide our opinion. So, it is also my opinion that a for-profit company such as American Water dip into or use portions of that profit to pay for upgrades, whether those upgrades are for just technology-based or to acquire more customers or to service a growing customer base based on population or expansion, like with what happened with Purcell, increasing the population that way. I do believe that the requested rate increase should be adjusted to a lower rate, and whether that be based on inflation or material cost increase, that should be up to the commission. Or, this is my alter on this, that the rate increase have a step-down time period. And what I mean by that is the investment of $770 million is a one-time capital investment by the for-profit corporation, and that the rate increase, the amount that is being, I would count it as revenue, but taken as an increase, be paid off that initial investment and either step down to cover inflation or the material costs, or just, go away. So, and that is my opinion.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying after whatever capital improvements are paid for, then you're talking about the rate then at that point reducing.
Reducing to the lower adjusted rate for inflation or material cost. Heck, material might come down. There might be advancements in technology, and whatever pipes put in the ground may last a lot longer.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Ockert? I have no questions. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Tyler, I'm going to circle back to you. Did you want to make a comment this evening?
No, I'll send one in writing.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, those are all the names that I had on my sign-up sheet. At this time, there may be people who did not have an opportunity to comment but realize now that they might like to say something to the commission. Is there anybody here who, at this point, would like to offer comments to the commission? Okay.
I would just like to say also, I will go along with what he said. I really appreciate all of you being here.
Okay, thank you. And for the record, that is Marcia S. Miller. And in case the microphone did not pick that up, Ms. Miller was saying that she appreciated us being here to take our comments and that she agrees with Mr. Ockert's comments. Okay, I didn't see any hands. I'll ask one more time. Is there anybody who would like to make any further remarks to the commission at this time? Well, I would like to say thank you. I appreciate everybody turning out this evening. And I'd like to thank the people that offered comments tonight. If you have additional comments or you get home and you're talking to friends or family that were unable to be here and they wanted to offer comments to the commission, You can do that by either going to the Commission's website, and there's a place to offer comments. And if you do that, I would ask that you put the case number in there, and the case number is WR-2022-0303. Other ways to make comments are to contact the Office of the Public Counsel. They'll be happy to assist you in making comments, and that might involve not having to know the case number right off. With that in mind, everybody have a good evening and a safe drive home, and this hearing is now adjourned.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioners.